but maybe just take everyone through your overall framework, how you approach an economy, how you triangulate data, what indicators do we use, how do you bucket them, what's most important to you, all the things like that.
Yeah. I think I think for me, it really does start with thinking about when you're thinking about an economy, thinking about the money, the credit, and the income that is being used for spending, both for households and for businesses, and then usually governments are not a proactive driver, although of course the federal government in the U.S. case has been more of a proactive driver recently. And so start with that set of concepts. Essentially think about the cash flow statement of households, businesses, and to some extent governments. And from there, think through, try and understand in particular, what is the income that they're getting? How much borrowing are they going to do? Essentially what money is being put into the economy. And then from there, what are they likely to do with that set of cash flows that they have available? And what they choose to do with the set of cash flows that they have available is dependent upon a lot of different stuff in terms of, what's happening with asset prices, what's happening, with interest rates, what's happening with their job prospects, et cetera. And that leads to an understanding of what's going to happen with their demand and investment. And then, you basically take your household demand and investment, your business demand and investment, and your federal government or your government demand and investment, plus foreigners, of course. And that basically tells you what's happening in the economy. And so data points are just little lenses into each one of those different pieces to understand how those things are likely to transpire ahead of us, right? They're just telling you sort of today what's going on with all those different things. And then you have to start to think about, okay, well, what caused the dynamics that we're seeing? And then what are the set of pressures on those dynamics that will then cause the behavior to change into the future? And so that's kind of, and so that whole ecosystem then is meaningfully influenced by a couple of different things. One is that it's influenced by what's going on in the financial markets. You can think about all the different places. Borrowing is influenced by, asset returns and credit, and what's going on with interest rates. Desire to spend versus save is a function of asset returns, interest rates, et cetera. So each one of those pieces are affected by asset markets or the private sector asset markets, and then also affected by monetary policy, which essentially, is just a way in which the economy gets manipulated. But of course, it's recursive in the sense of the outcomes then influence the policy, which then influence the dynamics. All of that, you want to put that into a context. All that helps you build a forward-looking picture of what's likely to transpire in the economy. When you're trading financial markets, which it's a little bit different because you're less focused on literally trading the bond market and the stock market and stuff like that. But when you're trading financial markets, then you have to take that forward-looking understanding of what you think is going to happen in the economy and compare it to what's priced into asset markets, which all too often people talk about what's going to happen and don't talk about what's priced in, because what's priced in is what you're trading when you're trading financial markets. And it's often forgotten. It's almost always forgotten. Which is kind of funny because it's the easy thing to do, right? You can figure out what's priced in for monetary policy, like you go look at the curve. Exactly. So you want to compare those two things. And what that creates is opportunities in the financial market where there's meaningful divergence between what's likely to transpire, what's priced in, and that creates the opportunities for alpha. So that's kind of that's probably, hopefully that's an understandable, it's cogent clear sense of what I'm trying to do on a day-to-day basis.
No, it's very clear. It gives me a lot of breadcrumbs to feed off of. We're going